one more thing?
Yes.
About meditate. I appreciate that first statement. About meditation. I have a hard time.
Now, this is a statement of observation that is building a pathway that you're going to have to undo.
Okay.
It's all right.
That's why I'm here.
But the question that we want to put to all of you is, why go to the trouble of building a wall that you're going to have to take down before you can get to where you want to go? It's like, let me just build this little barricade for the purpose of clarification, and then I'll knock it down. And then in other words, so just be aware of how you're phrasing things, how you're focusing your thoughts into sentences is a big part of the way you construct differently than you mean to. So when you start a sentence out by, I have a hard time with, you're just deliberately building the trouble with that is, what I don't like about that is, the thing that bothers me most about this is, in other words, you have a bunch of those phrases that not just you, but everyone does. So let every sentence begin in the direction of where you hope to end up. The improvement I'm looking for is constructing a thought way that's different than the struggle I have with this is.
Right.
You see what we're getting at?
I do. And so I will say, I would like to know the easiest way for me to release that resistance and get in the vortex, because I'm a very physical person. I really like moving. So laying down...
Well, usually the easiest way to release resistance on any subject is to take a hiatus from the subject. Because if you're having a hard time letting loose of it, it means it's specific. And the only reason it remains specific is because it's been getting quite a bit of recent traffic. Quite a bit of recent attention. So if you can do something about diffusing the attention by saying things like, well, I don't have to think about that now, and I'll just put that on the back burner. And I know I've got the new and improved version of that in my vortex that's working its way out. And there isn't anything for me to do right now about that anyway. And when I take effort from the standpoint of the vibration that doesn't match it, it's just counterproductive anyway. So I think I'll just chill on this. Aren't those good statements? Later gator. Esther says later gator. Later gator, later gator. It's her way of saying, if I think about it now, I know I will be constructing thought paths that later I will have to undo. So I'm going to think about it later from inside the vortex. Or I'm not going to think about it.
Right.
Do you ever have people that they want to talk about it now? I want to talk about this and I want to talk about this now. Please don't make me. I want to talk about this and I want to talk about this now. And you just know no good's going to come from it. It's just going to get bigger and badder and bigger and badder and bigger and badder. So the best mantra from this seminar is later gator.
Okay. I guess I was just wondering if meditation is benefiting me at this time.
Always.
Okay.
Every single time. Because a successful meditation is a stopping of thought. And a stopping of thought is a releasing of resistance. Have you been listening to this one yet?
Yeah, I have actually. We've had it since it came out, and I listened to it. I was listening to it last night, but I just find myself really, okay, so I'll be on perfect breath count, I'll hear every word you say, and I'll be thinking another thought.
But here's the thing to watch for. Several of you are listening to this, yes? So let's have a discussion about that just for a moment. So... it takes some attention to get your breath synced up with the music, yes? Right. And when you do you feel sort of successful? So, in that process, there is absolutely, no matter what mind chatter's happening, no matter what, if you manage to get your breath synced up with the music, you have deactivated some thought. Maybe not all, but you have deactivated some resistance, and you are less resistant than you were before, no matter what. So let's say that you are listening to the words, but let's say that you're not really hearing what they're saying. That's all right. That means you're in a diffused state. That means you're in a defocused state. That means you're in an allowing state. Now let's say that the word springs forward and you hear it. Suddenly you are really aware of the words that we are speaking while you are listening. That means you are either really on sync with the vibration, or you are not. In other words, if the words come forward to you in a strong way, it means that you're focused. It means that, and if the words come forth and are pleasurable as you hear them, that means you've managed to release resistance, your vibration, the vortex has trained your vibration, and you're right on sync. So you're hearing those words in a more emphatic, deep way than you ever have before. You with us? And you've had that experience? So then, does your mind ever wander away from what you're hearing? When that happens, if you will be aware of how the thought feels, in other words, when your mind wanders, if it's pleasurable, then that means the vortex trained you to a higher frequency, and now law of attraction is gathering some thoughts that are on that frequency, and you've queued yourself up for the potential of a really good idea flowing into your experience. Do you ever find yourself just having to jump right out of the meditation because you want to go write something down? That's what happened. The meditation trained your vibration upward. You got in rhythm with what's in your vortex, and now what's in the vortex is revealing itself to you in the form of good ideas, you see. Jerry and Esther, all of you are having different experiences, but this is a sort of pattern that many of you are experiencing, and it certainly was true with Jerry and Esther. As they first began listening to the recordings, they found their mind was quieted, and then they found that their mind was moving, which meant that they got onto the wavelength of their vortex right away, and now the vortex is feeding information to them. All of that is a very good thing. In other words, we're not trying to teach you to have a quieted mind. We're trying to teach you how to have no resistance. But the path for most people to no resistance is a quiet mind, because it's easier to teach you to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. So then they noticed that they were having a little mind chatter, and it happened to both of them on the same day, in the same moment. And when they came out of meditation, they said to each other, "Was your mind moving around?" And the other one said yes. And then they said, "We need to talk to Abraham." And we said, "You have achieved vibrational alignment with who you are, and now you're picking up on things that match that from inside your vortex." That is co-creation at its best. So then they noticed that when they listened to the general well-being meditation, right into the vortex, and it was blissful. When they listened to the financial one, right into the vortex, it was blissful. When they listened to the physical wellness, right into the vortex, and it was blissful. When they listened to the relationship, all kinds of different things started surfacing, because the frequency of what's in their vortex and their practiced frequency weren't up to speed. And so what was coming up for them was resistance was coming up. Resistance is coming up and showing itself to you. You can tell by the way you feel. So your work is to just sort of breathe it away. So are you getting the sense of what we've been talking about here in terms of more specific and negative, less specific and negative, really general and negative, really general and positive, more specific and positive? So that's what's going on. In other words, if you're really specific and negative, then anything that you can do to quiet your mind, which means maybe drop out of school, maybe go to the beach, maybe go get a massage, do anything you can to sort of break that attraction or those thought ways. But eventually you want to get hold of what's going on with the power of your own mind. You have the ability to bring yourself into alignment with who you are, and then think really specific thoughts about it. So would you say that what we're encouraging you to do is not think? Never. Would you say that what we're saying to you is, if you're in a negative place, don't think? Yes. If you're in a negative place, don't think, don't speak, don't call anyone, don't send an email, don't build the thought ways. If you're in a negative place, you have one thing to do: chill. You have one thing to do. Do anything that you can do to break the patterns of thought. And so meditation is the best thing that we know of, because it causes you to focus in a way that will release the resistance. If you're in a really good feeling place, do you think that's a good time to think?
Yes.
Why? Because you'll get a lot done? Or because it's pleasurable to think really specific thoughts when you're inside the vortex? You see what we're getting at? Yep. The whole thing is for your pleasure. Do you ever find a daydream that's pleasing to you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever find one that isn't? Isn't it clear that you want to focus yourself into the vortex, into alignment? And there are all kinds of benefits that come from it. But the thing that we want you, and we can feel you picking up on it more and more, we want you to acknowledge the existence of the vortex, the perfection of what's gathered there, and your singular intention regarding it. Your singular intention is to get in there and let it have its way with you. Get in there and let law of attraction reveal to you everything that you've incrementally put in there, you see. So when someone says, I need to know what I'm intending. I need to think about what I want. We say, you've already done that. It's already in there. Now that effort is counterproductive, because the more you try to think about what you think you want from your place of thinking that you don't have it, the more you introduce resistance to the whole thing and bog the whole thing down. So is it really possible that the flower children had it right all along? Is it really possible? Is it really possible that it's just about letting go? And we say, yes, but a lot of them weren't doing it either. In other words, you can't be a protester and protest your way into the vortex. You can't be against anything and get into the vortex. The vortex, it represents the vibrational version of all that you have created through all that you have lived, and stands as the culmination of all that you are, and is incessantly calling you gently and softly and steadily, but dynamically and powerfully forward into not an instant manifestation, but into a path that as it unfolds will give you what you've all come forth to live, a really rich and delicious and satisfying moment-to-moment experience. When you take the time to get into the vortex, and then you get out into traffic, then you get out into the flow of things, the universe dances with you. Butterflies come by at the right moment. Birds come by at the right moment. People and children and dogs with their heads out the window, and traffic, people who will yield for you, and traffic signals, and the way you breathe, and the way your cells are metabolizing, and the way your blood is flowing. In other words, there is a level of delicious creation in a physical body, the likes of which most people have deprived themselves all of your life. And when you start breathing yourself into alignment, and then you go out into the day, tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the fullness of who you are, and you allow this benevolent universe who has your number, who knows every single thing about everything that you want, just feeding you the gentle thoughts, the gentle images, the interaction with others, the ideas. You find yourself thinking of things just at the right moment. The edge comes off of everything. You become more productive. You have more fun. In other words, life in the vortex is really, really delicious. And by that, we mean productive in the highest sense of the word. But the productivity that we're looking for all of you is joy, 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 joy. And when you let that joy be your mantra and your quest, and you train yourself into the vortex, then not only do you get joy and money. Not only do you get joy and a lot of good friends around you. Not only do you get joy, but you get joy in a really good feeling body, and a beautiful place to live, and in a beautiful environment around you. And the universe will just knock itself out to deliver to you every incremental thing that you've ever thought was a really good idea, if you will just take time to get into the vortex. That's all it takes.
Thank you.